And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Good morning. Good day, everyone. This lovely, fine Saturday morning. Merely, what, 6 hours, 7 hours after we just finished our last broadcast of 10 hours straight of DreamHack Yongshipping. I was so concerned that I would not be able to wake up in time, but no, we are here. We are ready for some more StarCraft, and spawning in the top left hand corner of Dressman, we have I didn't even introduce the tournament for the Korean StarCraft League, your weekly dose of Korean StarCraft. Week number 15, we have the Korean Zerg player representing Team Abydos. It is Mondo. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the best player in all of Malaysia representing Team Infected. It's the Blue Protoss player. It is Ranger. Let us go. And yeah, good morning, everyone. It is good to see you all once again after a pretty intense night of StarCraft. Shout out to Asher as well. I don't know if Asher's recovered after that. For those who don't know, Asher stuck with me for a good 8 hours, solid 8 hours. By the way, we didn't even know that that we would be casting for that long. We assumed it was going to be like a 5-hour cast. Went on for double that. And Asher was with me for a solid like 8, almost 9 hours of it. And then we did kind of trudge through the end of it on our by ourselves. But it was a lot of fun. It was worth it in the end. We casted a lot of amazing players. We casted Hero, we casted Ragnarok, Showtime, Alaser, Lambo, Dongregyu, Hearthstone. So many good games were played out last night. Hearts were broken, hearts were mended. There was drama, there was love, romance, action, adventure. It was a wild night, Papi, a wild night. Aye. But now we can chill a little bit more. You know, I really look forward to watching the rest of the event over the coming days. For those who don't know, ESL Masters Summer, basically the event, the seasonal event for StarCraft, is currently ongoing. Day 1 was last night, and we have day 2 tonight and day 3 tomorrow. So 3 days full of StarCraft. Meanwhile, Mondo, he's cut workers at 19. He's going for a 19 drone link flood. Let's go. We have a third base on the way. So far, Ranger has not scouted this whatsoever, as he did go for a standard Stargate opener, but the Lings have gone unnoticed for the time being. The Adept is none the wiser. Same can be said with this probe. Lings are about to show up. The wall is not a wall, and the game may end before it really does begin, as the wall up. Oh, will barely get up and running in time. That was such a crucial moment here for Ranger. He's able to wall up. We have a secondary wall being thrown down as we speak. The Adept does make it over to the other side, but that's a kill, not a cancel on that gateway. The Lings are flooding on in, and the Adept gets surrounded. Ooh, the Adept falls. The probes are falling as well. We have a shield battery on the way, but before it can finish, GG gets called, and Mondo will take game number 1. In a pretty quick fashion, I wanted to kind of go over, you know, some of the things that happened last night when it comes to the games, when it comes to the broadcast, when it comes to everything involved. But the players, we got things to do. You know, we got games to play. We got as I quickly do set up the casting tool as well. I had to quickly restart the PC just before we dove into this, and oh boy. Vamonos, papi, vamonos. Oh, I almost forgot. I would love a custom KSL background. So far, I've got backgrounds for WTL, I've got backgrounds for Kung Fu Cup, and ESL, but no KSL. We'll get there. We'll get there. But yeah. Overall, oh boy, a pretty fast, quick game number 1, and very unfortunate as well. I should reiterate that Mondo did a great job at keeping his Lings hidden. Ranger unfortunately wasn't able to slip into a mineral line and recognize that there was no droning going on, or otherwise he was unable to really confirm the Lings either. He wasn't able to see them ahead of time, so Ranger was working with a lot of misinformation or just concealed information, and he wasn't able to figure that out in time. So oof, what a way to kick off the series here for Ome Mondo. Damn. And speaking of, here we have him. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Babylon, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Team Abydos. It is Mondo. Currently leading this series 1-0 and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner. We have his opponent. We have the Malaysian Protoss representing Team Infected. Down in this series, one more loss, and that will be the end of his run here in today's tournament. Can he bring it back? It is Ranger. Go. Also, I do apologize. Oh no, actually, hello there. Welcome. I thought that I messed up my casting tool, but no. We do have the Korean StarCraft League set up here. Beautiful. You'll love to see it. Boy, and yeah, we are going to be getting into our second game. Game 1 didn't really tell us too much. I don't expect Mondo to go for a 19 drone Ling flood or Ling all-in like we saw in the previous game. I don't expect to see that 2 games in a row. So Ranger is going to have the opportunity to fight back here, the opportunity to dictate the pace of the game and get into the mid game as well, if possible. Of course, you're going to have to be very vigilant here against what Mondo is up to. Mondo is more than willing. To be aggressive at any moment, at a moment's notice even. We have seen him go for these massive roach all-ins as well. These queen pushes across the map. He's very fond of them, especially on some of these other maps like Gresswan, for example, or even Near Humanity. On a map like Babylon, I wouldn't put it past him. You know, this is a very, very comfortable map for that sort of thing. Just pushing through these rocks in the center of the map, spreading that creep and just waddling your queens and waddling your roaches. It's quite common on this map, and yeah, we'll see if Mondo is akin to that as well. For the time being though, hatch gas pool opener from Mondo is forced to take the unnatural natural here on Babylon. He didn't go for a 15 hatch or anything like that, or even a 14 hatch, unfortunately. Just been going for standard openers instead. Oh, makes 6 lings as well, which is interesting to me. He is going to have enough to shoo away this probe, but have a couple extra as well just to scout and stay on top of things. Meanwhile, Ranger once again is going for the Stargate opener. This time he's actually going to be able to get into his build. This time he can actually play some StarCraft. Yeah, you'll love to see it. Do love to see it. So first adept is going to be getting across the map. The queens do get in position. The adept is forced to shade into the main base instead, but at least we do confirm the third hatchery. We're not quite able to get into too many mineral lines yet, but there we go. We do slip on in, confirming the drone count of the gases as well. Shade the hell out of there. Meet up with the second adept. Now we can be a little bit more assertive here. We have that one-shot potential for Ranger. 2 adepts do one-shot a worker. So because of that, they do pose a pretty big threat here to the mineral lines of Mondo, as we do commit to the shade once again, slipping in towards the main base. One of these adepts already sustaining quite a bit of hull damage here, and Ranger is going to be forced back across the map. It is going to be that Oracle opener from Ranger. As to be expected, we should be seeing a second Oracle behind this. But I do know that Ranger has been playing around a lot with his builds, and he has been able to incorporate a lot of all-ins as well. I think last week we were able to cast Ranger versus Dark, and Ranger was looking to be very aggressive against him, as we do have a third gateway on the way. I wouldn't be surprised if we throw down a Robo momentarily as well, as Ranger is delaying his third base by quite a lot. Mondo recognizes this. He's rotating back and forth between the third and fourth base here of Ranger, confirming that his opponent is staying on 2 bases, as well as going for a Stargate opener, which is very unorthodox and very unusual. And Mondo, alarm bells should be flaring right now that something is wrong, something is amiss. Ranger, something is clearly going on. And we can see that it's going to be, I believe, 4 gates in total. We have 2 at the natural, 2 more in the main. Twilight Council on the way. This is kind of looking like Lave Adepts. Probe does go down as well. We do have a heavily delayed third base here, and there we go. Glaives are on the way, so it's only going to be 4 gate Glaive Adepts. It's not hyper aggressive by any means. It is a way to try to catch the Zerg player off guard, to get an economic lead as we do skyrocket into the mid game. This is not designed to kill the Zerg player, unless we throw down more gateways, but we haven't yet. Still only 4 gateways available for Ranger. So he's just looking to harass across the map. As that adept count is getting higher and higher. We also have 3 oracles as well, so in conjunction with these adepts, the oracles can also dive into a mineral line as well and wreak even more havoc. Meanwhile, Mondo, he has thrown down a safety roach warren. Thankfully, we have a roach warren on the way, gases are being taken, a lair as well. He's been able to comfortably drone up to 57, should be able to drone up to around 60 as the adepts are making their way across the map. There we go, the adepts are looking to shade on in. They are going to be spotted here by the overlords of Mondo. His army is going to be able to rotate on over. But the Roach Warren isn't done. Roach Warren was a little bit delayed here. We're relying on Glings and Queens to defend instead, and drones are getting picked up. Oh! Ooh, but the wall is a wall. The adepts do not make it into the natural base. At the same time, the oracles try to dive into the main, but no, they are deflected by the Queens, and it looks like we are going to get a kill on that Evo chamber, but the adepts still don't find their way in. Mondo has done such a great job at buying time for his roaches. The roaches finally do come out. Remember, the roach warren wasn't even done when the adepts initially showed up. But despite that, 5 workers will get picked off here. Good damage is being done here by Ranger, but he is going to get cleaned up. And do we have enough back at home to defend against the counterattack? We'll see once the adepts get cleaned up. For the time being, we have drones being sent between every single base. 9 drones go down in total. This is definitely worth it here for Ranger. It's just that counterattack that I'm concerned about, as Mondo now has control of his side of the map. We have Roach speed and +1 range on the way. Back at home, shield batteries, there we go. Ranger recognizes that he is vulnerable right now. He doesn't really have, this is his army, 3 adepts. That is all he has, and soon to be 2 more stalkers. But 2 shield batteries are thrown down. We're going to have an overcharge as well of Robo, a second Robo for double immortal production. Ranger needs to get this up and running sooner rather than later. Meanwhile, across the map, Mondo is happily droning. He's actually not going to be committing to any kind of big push because he's teching. We have a Hydra Den on the way as well as an infestation pit. So because of all this tech from Mondo, it looks like he's not really too concerned about going for a big counterattack. He's more concerned with recovering economically because he did lose a lot of drones. You're looking at the units lost type here, 16 drones did go down for 16 adepts. Pretty good trade overall from Ranger, and Mondo, he's gonna have to stay back at home, lick his wounds until he has a good enough economy to sustain for these Hydras. With that, Ranger holds on to his third. He's gonna be able to take a 4th base behind this. We have station traps being thrown about as well to keep that 4th base alive. Adepts are looking to shade on in, and Mondo has a delayed reaction. 4 drones do go down. Mondo just took a little bit too long to pull away in time. A 5th drone goes down as well. A great use of these adepts, especially considering that they do kind of they have a bit of a lifespan in PvZ. They aren't the most useful of units as time goes on, so to trade them out for drones is just, again, something that any Protoss player would love to do. Meanwhile, we have Ranger being a little bit active here with his stalkers. He has to be careful. Lings do catch a couple of them, but thankfully there's no creep here, and Ranger has been doing a decent job at just keeping that creep at bay. Meanwhile, Mondo, it looks like he's recognized that he's maybe lost too many drones throughout the course of this game, and he's just focusing on teching Lunkers. The Lurker Den is on the way, and again, this makes plenty of sense. It's very like Dark-esque. You know, if Dark, for example, ever gets behind economically in a PvZ, he usually just reverts. He just goes back into his shell and turtles up and goes into Lurkers. And similarly, that is what Mondo is going to be doing here as well. Now, before the Lurkers come out, Mondo, he's going to be in a bit of trouble. Like, there's a window that could be taken advantage of, but Ranger cannot really contest against these links. He's being forced all the way back to his own 4th base. Meanwhile, Prism dives into the main. There are Queens in position, and an unfortunate pathing from that Prism. It will go down. Ay. Yeah, with that Ranger, he won't be able to counterattack at the same time. He does knock down these rocks, which will give him a little bit more breathing room here and a little bit more micro potential as well, as he can blink over said rock walls. But Mondo is having none of it. He's looking to catch his army. He now has a Roach Hydra Force, and he's trading quite well against these Stalkers. A lot of Stalkers are being bled out. At the same time, a Link counterattack towards that third base. But no, Ranger is quick to respond, but his main army was struggling. 16 Stalkers have gone down so far this game. And alas, as the Stalker count gets thinned out, Mondo's army is looking stronger and stronger. The first wave of Lurkers are on the way. 9 Lurkers in production. And Mondo is looking to be as aggressive as possible with them. He's looking to really assert himself here out on the map. Again, hasn't been able to spread his creep too far forward here past the halfway point. But that's not really, well, that doesn't really apply here as the army has arrived. We do have a sold revelation on the majority of those Lurkers. But even with that revelation, Ranger, he can't get close. The Immortals go down. The Prism went down earlier, so we just cannot micro-set Immortals. We cannot save them. We cannot keep them alive. And Mondo breaks on through onto that fourth base. We have Disruptors on the way, but they are being tied up. At the same time, a pretty potent counterattack with Zealots and with Stalkers, but alas, the reinforcements are cleaning them up as well. It looks like Mondo has broken through. GG gets called. Mondo will take the series 2-0. GG. Pretty powerful showing there from Mondo. Game 1 was very assertive, going for the 19 drone Link Flood, but here in Game 2, it was a little bit more back and forth. I'm sure Ranger was maybe hoping for more damage to be done by his Adepts, but you know, he was dealing quite a lot of damage anyway when it comes to drone kills, when it comes to lost mining time as well. He was also able to establish his fourth base pretty well. I do think that his pushes left much to be desired though, because Ranger was bleeding out a lot of Stalkers as he was being active on the map, and you can't really afford to do that. If you remember, he lost 16 Stalkers before the Lurker push happened. And those 6, we see the top tier Protoss players so meticulously keeping their Stalkers alive throughout the course of the early to mid game so they can snowball out of control. Especially when you're going for this +1 Blink Stalker style, it's so crucial to be able to pull that off. And Ranger was struggling there to kind of build up his Stalker count and keep them alive. Oh. Aside of that, GG. GG, well played. Mondo will be advancing on here in the bracket, as I should fix up his race logo. There we go. Is going to be advancing forward here, and he's going to be looking to face off against another player. Someone very special, near and dear to our hearts. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. A lot of updates are going on already. My god, Miyamika does advance on to face Nicorakt in a ZvT. Oh, that is looking juicy. That is looking very, very juicy, not going to lie.